What's up, y'all? So as I'm driving through my old city that I used to be a police officer in, and I'm doing security, I had a really important thought that came to my mind that I wanted to share with you all. And it's so important to adjust your yardstick when you're dealing with chronic issues that are setting you back literally in every area of your life. For me, I know I was so hard on myself at first when I had to take time off of work to get this squared away. And obviously I was even harder on myself after losing my career altogether when I was a cop. But it really was important for me, and I learned it the hard way that I needed to adjust my yardstick. At first I was very hard on myself. Like I said, I would just constantly be thinking about things I could have did better, regrets I had when I was a police officer. And when I say regrets, I don't mean I did anything wrong. I just mean, like, picking myself apart with like how my training went, and I wish I wouldn't have said certain things that I did to my training officers, even though I was right. It was best to, kind of keep my mouth shut, that kind of thing. And, when you're on training, you have to have a specific mindset. You can't let your ego or anything get in the way, even if you're in the right. You have to let them think they are, unless there's something like crazy, like they're violating somebody's rights or anything like that. But yeah, just different stuff. Mostly I had the fear of missing out because, I was in my house all the time, and for the first 2 months, I was just beating myself up so much. But I was really so sick at the time where, to be honest with you, a normal night of me just being able to sleep with moderate symptoms, moderate, mucus in my throat, moderate difficulty breathing, that was even a good day at the time. So when I beat myself up so much for the work thing and the place that I was at, it was very mentally challenging for me. So if I had to give you guys a message for today's video, it's just, you got to adjust your yardstick. If you can't do something, or especially can't do something to the best of your ability, don't beat yourself up over it. You can't control it. All you can control is your effort in things. But don't put all your eggs in one basket. Like, for example, I did for the gym. Like, I am trying to bulk. Basically this whole time I had this illness, and it's like, it's hard enough to, get enough food for me to just maintain my weight, let alone gain it. And it's a catch-22, because whenever I tried to bulk, I'm gonna obviously have a lot more symptoms because I'm consuming a lot more carbs and that kind of thing, even if it was, GERD friendly food. It's just the way it is. So sometimes you have to take a step back and let yourself heal. And make no mistake about it, this condition takes a long time to heal. Even me, like, I still go through flare-ups, and it takes several weeks, honestly, for me to, like, completely go back to, not a lot of mucus and no esophagus pain, no throat pain, throat irritation, things like that. So it for damn sure takes a lot longer than what a lot of people realize. So keep that in mind too. And I would encourage you all, at work, your certain hobbies, whenever things are hard for you to do with this condition, just give yourself a little break. Do your best, do the best that you can, but don't think so much about your performance if you're giving it all you can, because there's no reason to beat yourself up for something that you can't really control. And I wish I would have known that, but I learned that the hard way, and that's okay, because I wouldn't have it any other way. I learned a lot of lessons from my time off. I would encourage you guys, play video games, learn an instrument, do some stuff where your yardstick doesn't really depend on if you have GERD or not. Do some stuff where you can make progress and still feel good, and have hobbies where your GERD or LPR or silent reflux, it doesn't affect those things. For example, I started getting heavily into World of Warcraft and playing guitar, and I even learned a little bit of Spanish during my time off, and all those things had nothing to do with GERD and silent reflux, and it was a huge good distraction for me. Obviously I wouldn't have had, if I was working, I wouldn't have had that much time to do it, just because, you know, I was working. So obviously I'm gonna have to prioritize making money. But even so, even when I was working, I for sure had enough time. Like, instead of, for example, when I was working but I was still suffering from this condition, I placed a huge emphasis and time on the gym. Now, instead of placing so much time on the gym and trying to eat 5 meals a day and still not really gaining that much weight and suffering for it, what I should have done is, okay, maybe spend less time at the gym, or maybe go for 3 weeks, skip 1 week, or, you know, don't work out as hard, but spend significantly less time at the gym for now until I'm healed, and focus more on certain hobbies that I like what I mentioned above, or like, you know, things like that. And also another one for me just so happens to be martial arts. I don't, to be honest, when I'm going through this condition, I don't want to do martial arts. Could I? Sure. You know, I did a little bit. I had a jiu-jitsu dummy. You know, learning new techniques is awesome. Keeping my brain sharp with jiu-jitsu transitions and, you know, things like that I can do, submissions. That's awesome, you know, and I did do that. But am I going to focus on going to the gym and trying to smash people and, you know, having that affect my mentality, like with the weight that I was at and I still am at, and, you know, going in there, exerting that much effort for 90 minutes, like, it's just not worth it for me. One, because I'm burning a lot of calories, and right now, like, calories are really important for me. And two, you know, the strenuous activities also were part of my flare-ups. So, and that's something I very much beat myself up for at first. And I can go on and on about examples and things that, you know, but at the end of the day, just know that you have to change your yardstick, or I would encourage you to change your yardstick, so that way your mental health and your happiness is optimized throughout the struggle and throughout your healing journey with this condition, because it is going to take time, and it very much is a long game. For those of you who've been watching my videos, you know I've had this condition for a really long time. I've had silent reflux really bad for probably like, well, several years really, but it got really bad when I took time off of work, which is why I took time off of work. And yeah, so I'm still trying to figure it out. Like, I'm very open about that I'm still trying to figure it out. I know when I made my last video, I think I made my last video when I was thanking you guys, I was actually in the middle of a flare-up when I made that video, or I guess it was the day before, but I didn't get a lot of sleep that day, and my point is I'm still struggling with this condition, you know. So I went back to basically a carnivore diet with very little carbs and mostly meat, just to get my flare-up under control. And, you know, I'm pretty good today. I was good yesterday for the most part. Yeah, my point is just, it's a battle. It's a war of attrition with this condition. So you got to make sure to keep your mental health in check and change your yardstick. And don't let other people, you know, what other people are doing, don't let that affect you, because everybody has their own struggle and their own journey. So if you're anything like me, I'm going to be open with the fact that I often think about things I'm missing out on. I wish I could still go to bars and have drinks like that and just eat whatever the fuck I want. Go to a Waffle House afterward that's open late. Go to IHOP or something and just eat a bunch and fall straight to sleep after a night of partying. But I can't do that. And honestly, I don't really... as much as I do want to do that, it's like, okay, and then what after that, you know? It's not contributing to the Jaden that I want to be 10 years down the line. So I had to change my yardstick. And I also had to accept the fact that, hey, healing is very hard to do with certain things in your life, and alcohol is a big part of it. And I'm starting to understand that certain things in my diet, maybe not so much allergies, but like sugar, for example, like that's something that I didn't really give up a lot of, even in the middle of my GERD thing, because I didn't think sugar alone caused it. But as I've been on this little mini carnivore diet, I'm realizing like when I don't have sugar, it really calms down my symptoms. So yeah, again, the issue with me was the doctors just thought it was a mechanical issue. They didn't really, I don't want to say they did me injustice, but different diets were not stressed to me, which is why I basically didn't, I say that I started trying to really unpeel the layers of this condition when I took time off of work, but I really didn't get started on it until after I already lost my job because of this condition, which was 6 months after I took time off work in September of 2023. So really, I didn't start even entertaining, aside from the GERD diet, because I did try that, and I think I did try like a mini gluten-free diet, and I felt okay-ish, but how much of that was from not having gluten, or how much was it from just the limited sugar because I'm eating less gluten? Because most of the sugar we consume usually is pastries or pie or cookies, something like that has gluten. So yeah, make sure you guys adjust your yardsticks. I would recommend, even if you guys don't have anything else, like I'm gonna fully admit that aside from work, the gym and martial arts took up a pretty big portion of my life before, but I had to adjust my yardstick. Otherwise, I'm left with nothing but, the feelings like, oh, I should be in the gym right now. And it's like, that's not doing anything for me. It's just a cycle. Like, okay, like, what is that doing for my condition? It's not making me any better. I'm really not even getting any better. And you can make the point that in both the regular gym and also with martial arts, I'm actually stunting my progress, because if I don't address the reflux with a diet appropriate, then I'm not going to get better. And if I'm in jiu-jitsu and I'm losing all kinds of weight, then it's like I'm already pretty good at the technique. So at this point, weight matters more to me than technique does, honestly. So that's just that. If you guys have any questions, hit me up as usual. Remember to adjust your expectations when you have this video. I cannot stress this enough. I'm surprised I haven't really made a video touching on this topic. But it's so important to keep in the game when you have this. I can't stress enough how much. But all right, guys, you take care. Everybody have a good night, have a good day, whatever time it is in your world, and I'll see you guys on the next one. There'll be a lot more to come, especially since I'm doing this carnivore diet, and a mini carnivore diet. I'm not really going super crazy with it, but I am. I'm definitely putting my weight aspirations aside right now, because I avoided it for a long time because I'm like, oh, I don't want to lose too much weight, and that was a big thing for me. But it's more important for me to heal my gut permanently, and have something I could fall back on. Like if I do a carnivore diet for a month and I feel significantly better, that's a clue to me in the future that I can do this again. My goal is to get back to eating regular food, but I realize something is clearly off in my gut and causing reflux. So it's taken me a little bit of time to dial it in, but when I do dial it in, it'll be nice to, again, share with you guys my progress so you can try it too. Because over the course of my videos, I've tried a bunch of different stuff, and a lot of it's helped, a lot of it hasn't. It's just a constant battle. So gotta fight it good. All right, guys, I'll see you guys next time.